To this Belly Up Media production. Some said we'd go belly up, so we made it our name. And we're still here.
The following announcement hasn't paid for, but it's for Board Addicts Podcast.
It's Monday, and you know what that means. Welcome to the 7th episode of the Rasslin Addicts. I'm Matt. There's Sal. How's everybody doing today?
I did not realize I was on mute. Did you notice?
You know what?
I was talking in the beginning, and I was like, "Oh wait, I'm on mute."
So I left a little pause there. I paused a little bit, and then you weren't. I didn't hear you, so I was like, "So let's go." But that makes sense that you were mute.
I was on mute. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's Monday, and after a long forbidden door last night, here we are for Raw tonight.
Yeah, and I feel like we should just get right into it.
Why not?
You were live tweeting for Rasslin Inc.
Certainly was
during the entire pay-per-view. So why don't you full disclosure, I didn't watch it. I actually followed along from what you were tweeting out on Twitter, and then I watched the great food truck race with the wife, and then I passed out.
There we go.
So
all right.
Yeah, it's once you get to that age, it's just bedtime is early and earlier every day.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I was tapping out at the end of the Forbidden Door last night, but I started coverage at 7:00 for the buy-in. Buy-in had a few good matches. I went into this pay-per-view with low expectations. I was telling you before we started the show tonight, I went in with low expectations because I'm not a New Japan guy. I don't watch New Japan. I know who the main guys are. Like, I know who Okada is, and Will Ospreay, and I'll talk about him in a minute because he's on top of my list right now. I know who Jay White is, and Zack Sabre Jr., Minoru Suzuki. I know who those guys are, but the rest of the card had New Japan guys on that I didn't know who they were. I've heard of a few names. Like, I've heard of Tanahashi, who was in the main event with Jon Moxley for the interim AEW World Title. Yeah, and I've heard of Jeff Cobb, who was in a tag team match with FTR. But other than that, I've never seen them wrestle. They were talking about Tanahashi last night, and they were saying, "Oh, he's like Bret Hart. Like, he's like a version of Bret Hart in New Japan." Wow. I was like, well, that's good to know. I don't even know who he is. I've heard of the name, but it just had half the New Japan roster. I was like, who? I don't know who these guys are. Yeah, it was just weird, but it was a good night. It was a fun show. It had some great matches. Some of the finishes were booked not so great, but it was.
Which one sticks out?
It was a fun night. Oh, the 4-way for the IWGP title. The ending of that was just out of nowhere, and I think it's because Adam Cole has an injury. I think he got hurt during the match. He apparently has a concussion. That's what I've been hearing. So, yeah, Jay White just pinned him out of nowhere, and it was so awkward. It was like, okay, that wasn't supposed to be the finish. What happened there? And after the night was over, sounds like Adam Cole is in concussion, so that's why it ended
Yeah.
a little bizarre. So
What's going
I
on over at
don't know.
AEW? All these guys are
I don't
getting
know.
like lit up right now.
And he was hurt before that. Cole has, I think, a labrum issue right
I
now.
read
So
that. Yeah.
he was in that match hurt already. So now he's hurt even more with a concussion, which is not fun. You have to take that seriously, of course.
Yeah.
But it was a great match with Okada and Jay White and Adam Cole and Adam Page. Great match, but the finish just ruined it. And we find out it's because of Adam Cole and his concussion now.
That's almost like the Brock Roman match at WrestleMania, how there was so much like hype around it, and then Roman's shoulder could separated, so they couldn't do what they wanted to do. That sucks, because it's I think Bully Ray said it or someone said it, is like you always remember the finish. Like that's the thing you remember the most. And when the finish falls flat, especially with all the criticism Adam Cole was taking, last week, whether you're paying mind to it or not, it's now the people that were saying what they were could be like, well, concussion, maybe there is something to it. Who knows? But
I don't even know. Like, I watched the match back a little bit, like the ending of it. And I was like, where did he get a concussion? Because I couldn't tell. I know you didn't watch, but it was just bizarre. It just ended so weirdly. Like Okada got thrown out of the ring by Jay White, but nothing even happened to Adam Cole. He was just lying on the mat.
damn.
And he just pinned him, and it was 1, 2, 3. I was like, what just happened? It was so weird. It was bizarre, but it was a good match. It was a really good match. That was the one match going into this pay-per-view that I was looking forward to. And it delivered, but the ending, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody was satisfied with that ending, but hey, injuries happen, especially nowadays.
It's crazy how many people are hurt now. And then I think I was reading, I don't know if it was just a random tweet. I couldn't go back and find it, but Moxley has a concussion. I think I read that.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
I don't know. I don't think it's legit. I feel like we would have heard about it, and then people would have made comments how now your interim champion has a concussion. Now the interim champion's gonna have an interim champion. So
yeah,
maybe it wasn't legit.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about that. I mean, he did get busted open pretty bad last night.
Yeah,
but,
I saw
that was obviously
Twitter.
I was assuming that was planned because Moxley bleeds in every match. But yeah, the main event with Moxley and Tanahashi, like I was saying, like going into it, like I really didn't have much interest just because it's for an interim championship belt, and I don't know who Tanahashi is. Like I've heard of the name, but I've never seen him wrestle. I just know him by name. It was an okay match, not my cup of tea for a main event, but yeah, I kind of knew what I was getting into in that main event. I was like, okay, Moxley's gonna bleed, they're gonna brawl a little table spot, which there was one, put Tanahashi through a table, and then I knew Moxley was gonna win this match.
Yeah,
it made sense.
I was just gonna say that it doesn't make sense for him to not win, so because then really it's like, okay, all right, ideally, how long is Punk out for? Rest of the year?
I don't know.
His foot?
It's his foot. He just had surgery recently, and I don't know how much longer it's going to be. They're not saying much about his timeline.
I like that in a way because then it leads for that pop shock when he comes back,
right?
When the static hits. But it's just almost like, so what's the plan? Is the plan for Moxley to hold the interim title until Punk comes back, or I feel like if Mox loses the title before Punk comes back, then it's almost like, okay, maybe Punk won't be, the automatic winner. Because that's what I was saying on Twitter the other day. I was like, someone compared interim champion in wrestling to boxing and mixed martial arts like UFC, saying that it works there. Why doesn't it work so much here? I mean, I think it speaks for itself.
Yeah,
Those are legitimate competitions to
exactly.
where it's an interim champion. Like literally
You
anyone.
can easily just put somebody else in their place. Like, you didn't need to have an interim champion. You just could have vacated the belt, and
Yeah.
like they've been doing for the last 20, 30 years, they just vacate the belt and have a tournament or something, or have another match, and a new champion's crowned. But I'm not crazy about interim champions, but Tony Khan, that's what Tony Khan likes, so we'll go with it. We'll roll with it.
Or we'll get there
Yeah, we'll get there.
after we're done.
Yeah.
Because what I did see, I mean, I'm definitely skipping around the card, but Orange Cassidy, you want to go into
Oh, Will Ospreay, yeah.
yeah.
All the New Japan guys, Will Ospreay impressed me the most. And I've seen matches with him in New Japan. I've seen some clips, and I thought they were good, but his little run here in AEW that he's having with this whole Forbidden Door stuff, it's pretty good. I'm impressed. He's great in the ring, has great charisma, lots of personality. He looks like a star.
He does.
And that's what wrestling needs right now, especially AEW. They need a star. And he looks like one. He talks like one. He acts like one. And I think we need to see a lot more of him in AEW. I hope he doesn't just go back to New Japan and we don't see him anymore in AEW, because then I don't watch New Japan, and I'm not going to turn it on just for Will Ospreay. So I hope he's on AEW more. And he made me enjoy an Orange Cassidy match. That's how good Will Ospreay was. He made me enjoy an Orange Cassidy match. Because typically, I'm not a big Orange Cassidy guy. I understand his gimmick. I get it. Yeah, the whole and he has no reaction. I get it. I liked it in the beginning, but joke's getting old.
Yeah.
It's getting the whole gimmick is getting a little old, I think. He's good in the ring. He can go in the ring. He's great in ring competitor, but his gimmick is just,
it's getting there. It's getting stale.
It's just getting stale, and it's like, okay, what else you got for me? Like, that's it? Like,
That's
you're
fair.
just gonna put your thumb up and walk out in denim? I don't know. I don't know. But Will Ospreay made me like an Orange Cassidy match, so I want to see more of Will Ospreay.
I feel like, being that Tony Khan likes, ex WWE guys more than his own people.
We got to get there too.
It could be, maybe you will see a little more of Will Ospreay. So
I hope so. Well, Will Ospreay was never in WWE.
And here we go. Well, Darius is right. When it comes to OC Orange Cassidy,
he's fine in the ring, but the gimmick could use retooling. Yeah, I agree with Darius. It's getting old. I know the AEW audience love him and everything, and I get it. I get the gimmick. It's not like I don't understand the gimmick, but okay, like, what else has he got? He's good in the ring, but the gimmick is, there's only so much you can do with that. So
yeah.
Joke's getting old. What else you got?
Speaking of what else we got, what else?
You mentioned ex-WWE guys, so let's just move right into it.
Let's do it.
So, unfortunately, Bryan Danielson got hurt. Wasn't on this card for that reason. So Zack Sabre Jr., who is another New Japan guy, and another guy, like, I know who he is. I've seen a few of his matches. I've seen clips of him. Like, I know who he is. I don't watch him on the regular. Obviously, I don't even know the last time I watched a match with him. But he's great in the ring, great in-ring technician. and they needed, a surprise because Danielson was out, and here comes Cesaro. Now Claudio. He's Claudio now. That's his real name, by the way.
I love it.
Yeah.
I was always a fan. I felt like this was one of those, like, you knew like this time you weren't gonna get like a Johnny Gargano, but it turns out to be like John Morrison. Like you weren't
Yeah.
getting a
Yeah,
let.
where's he at?
I
He disappeared
last
too.
saw, not to get off the Cesaro, but I last saw that he was taking Jeff Hardy's place
Hmm.
for a tag team with Matt. I saw it on Twitter. I don't know if it was for AEW or whatever, but I mean, when it comes to, I just feel like Cesaro could fit in, Claudio could fit in. I feel like they have too many people, not enough TV time,
Mm-hmm.
and like you can't not have top guys on consistently.
Right.
So like Keith Lee and Swerve, for a while they weren't on every week. I don't honestly know if they still are consistently.
They were on the buy-in, but it was the buy-in.
Yeah, and I get, the buy-in, gets people probably more confirmed to watch it, but this is
Mm-hmm.
Forbidden Door. If you weren't ordering
Yeah.
it to begin with, the buy-in wasn't going to do that.
Right.
So I feel like if you're just going to take on so much like WCW, you got to try to utilize them in a meaningful way. Like
Right.
make it mean something that Cesaro, that Claudio is here. You know, I get, there's a new, what's it, the Mid Atlantic, North Atlantic,
All Atlantic
All
champion.
Atlantic,
Yeah.
the All Atlantic Championship. Fine, make it your intercontinental title. The TNT title used to have some prestige, but I feel like with the hot potato that's been happening, Cody made that title, and then
Mm-hmm.
when Brody had it, but I just feel like it's got to be worth it. Like how people get mad at WWE for signing all these people and not using them the right way.
Right.
Take the same energy and put it towards AEW and feel the same way. Like I get it. You're pissed off that Vince didn't use Cesaro the right way all those years. He had everything but the mic skills, so he was never the world champion. Now, if
Yeah.
he's in AEW and the same thing doesn't happen, have that same passion and energy that you had when he was in WWE. Put it toward AEW, because I feel like Tony Khan is more of the mark, to where it's like he sometimes forget he owns the company. So like
Oh yeah. We'll
he'll
get
look
to
on
that.
Twitter and he'll be like, "Oh, blah blah blah," but like I feel like if he'll listen to the fans more than Vince would,
Mm-hmm.
to where you wanted all these people signed, now you got them, but like don't just store them on your shelf and look at them. Do something with them.
I love Claudio. I love Claudio, but there was only so much you could do with him in WWE. You knew he wasn't going to be the world champion. He just, in ring he was fantastic. He's a powerhouse. His power is unbelievable. But you kind of knew he was never going to be world champion.
Yeah,
When I saw him, I said, "This is a great in ring worker that can be, mid card with the U.S. title, the IC title. You stick him in a tag team, he'll work good, especially with the Bar with Sheamus. I love that tag team.
that was
That was
awesome.
great. Great tag team. I always saw him as a mid card guy, and he just doesn't scream world champion to me. Maybe he did things change in AEW, but I don't think so because he's already in the Blackpool Combat Club already. So, he's already just in a group now. Like I tweeted this out last night. I said this is a great signing for AEW, but they have to make him feel like a big deal and not have him fade into the background like
I
some people
agree.
have. And There wasn't anything left for him to do in WWE. It was good for him to leave because he needed something new.
If he wasn't going to have a powerful mouthpiece like Paul Heyman,
Right.
or or even like Vicky Guerrero at the time, because I
Mhm.
honestly can't think of any other
Zeb Coulter with him
Ze-
and Jack Swagger.
that. But the thing was, he shouldn't be with anyone else. He should just be the guy, like him with Swagger. Swagger needed the mouthpiece because of the lisp, and Vince was like, "God damn it, stop spitting on the mic, pal." So
And
like
he,
it. So like Cesaro, I felt like if he was, they tried it with Paul Heyman, but then like
Mhm.
Heyman had Punk. You always knew Heyman was with
Yeah.
Brock. So like if they just stick one guy who could talk while he does everything in the ring, then I
Mhm.
felt like you could have put a world title on him, only because he just didn't have that natural charisma on the mic.
Yeah, I agree with that. There were times where I was like, okay, maybe now is the right time, but then something would always happen. But I just feel like Cesaro would have been that guy. Like, oh, everybody would have been happy once he first won it, and then like a month later, they would have been like, all right,
They would have turned on him.
yeah, like, all right, who's next? Like, next up, like, we're getting bored of this because that's how wrestling fans are. They get bored um
Yeah.
quickly. And I'm happy for Claudio. He seems like a really nice guy. I've never heard a bad thing about him. He's great
And
in the ring.
and that, going back to saying that you never heard a bad thing about him, he's a great guy. Like, you have us sitting here now talking, and you have other fans in the past talking like, "Oh well, he should have been a world champion. Why did he stay there for so long if he didn't get it?"
He decided to sign with them.
Maybe some people just don't want to be the world champion. Maybe he just like going to work every day. He likes his position. It was good for him. He did his thing. But it's almost like, like we want these things, but then if they're not doing what they need to do to get those things, it's almost like, who should we really be upset at? You know?
Yeah. I, we got another comment from Darius. Claudio was max as a mid card in WWE. I agree. I'm
Mhm.
curious to see if he enters the championship picture sooner rather than later in a crowded AEW roster. And also great to hear Vince again.
Thank you.
uh, well, Ladarius, I agree. The AEW roster is becoming rather large, to the point where you kind of forget, like, oh yeah, he's with AEW. Oh, that's right. And I hope that doesn't happen with Claudio because he's good. He's so good in the ring. He had a great match with Zack Sabre Jr. Both of them are great technicians in the ring, especially Sabre Jr. He was unbelievable. Um, but yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. Right now, it looks like he's going to be doing Blood and Guts on Wednesday with Blackpool Combat Club. So should be fun. We'll see. I don't know. I don't see AEW World Champion Claudio. I don't. I don't know if we get there.
I agree, because I feel like there's so many other people in front of him right now.
Yeah, I
And
just don't know if he ever gets there.
I feel like I agree with you. And it's also, I feel like they're not going to put the interim championship on certain guys. Like,
Yeah,
they're going to wait for Punk to come back for someone like Wardlow to win. They're not going to make him the interim world heavyweight champion for his first title run. Like, at least with Mox, he was, WWE champion.
right.
He was AEW champion before. So
Hmm.
to give that to him isn't really like knocking him in a way, or it's
No,
like not like a step down.
no,
Whether if you give it to someone who just came in, like, you're not going to make Brian Daniels. I almost said Daniel Bryan. You're not going to make Brian Danielson the interim AEW champion. You're just not going to do that.
no. It wouldn't look right. Well, I don't know. That's another question. When he come back, but yeah, you wouldn't do that. I think Moxley's a safe bet here for an interim champion. I guess I don't know. It all depends on when Punk comes back. Is it going to be Punk and Moxley? And Punk is going to win once he comes back. So that's why none of this makes sense unless they just swerve us all and have Moxley keep the interim championship and then beat Punk. What sense would that make? I don't know.
And that's the argument I was having on Twitter when I was against, interim champions in wrestling, because like when Punk comes back, it's a shoo-in that he's going to win that match, because if he wasn't, then you would have him drop the belt.
Right.
And then, you have a better story of, the 7-year, 8-year hiatus from wrestling. He comes back, he starts at the bottom, he works his way, earns a championship, title match, wins the title, and then he gets hurt and has to forfeit the championship. So when he comes back, he would be a major babyface, and he already is.
Right.
Going back for the championship that he never lost.
True.
So then I feel like that's a better story. But then, like, he's at home, his foot's bandaged, ice on his foot, AJ Lee skipping around everywhere while he has the AEW championship when he's not even there. And then it's funny because it's almost like politics with AEW and WWE. Like, AEW fans would be like, yeah, we love Punk, interim champion's great. And then those same fans would be like, Brock Lesnar has been off TV for a month, he should give up the belt. But, like, what does that matter? Because there's still another champion on the other show. You still have a champion. Right. So it's like, what's the difference of a guy just having a part-time schedule compared to, being hurt?
Right. Yeah. The thing is, we just don't know how long he's going to be hurt for and how long he's going to be out. I don't know how long a surgery like that takes to heal, but I put it this way: he'll be back before Cody's back in WWE. Punk will be back with AEW before Cody's back in WWE. Yeah, I see it going that way.
That honestly, it makes sense. I could see that because Cody looked really, really bad.
We mentioned the All Atlantic Championship. That was another Fatal 4-Way. They had 2 Fatal 4-Ways on the show. It was Malachi Black, Pac, Miro, and some guy named Clark Connors from New Japan. This is another one of those guys. I had no idea who he was, but he was actually really good. Pac wound up winning this match, so he's the first ever All Atlantic champion. I like Pac, so I'm cool with this. Although I feel like having this title now, like, okay, well, which titles, is it the TNT title or the All Atlantic title that's going to get like the shafts right now and just not be on TV? Which one's going to get more TV time? That's the question. That's going to have to be answered at this point.
And then you're going to have Ring of Honor championships too once that becomes a brand.
They already have. The Ring of Honor title was the tag titles were defended because FTR. It was. It was a winner take all with the IWGP tag titles and the Ring of Honor tag titles, and FTR won that match. So now FTR basically holds all the tag titles except the AEW tag titles, because you know who that's on. Yeah. I wonder why they don't have the AEW tag titles FTR. Well, strange, huh?
Yeah, strange.
They hold every other tag title in the business, but that one. Obviously, other than WWE tag titles.
Yeah.
They hold the AAA ones, the ROH ones, and now the IWGP ones.
Well, because they have so many championships, they have to double up.
Yeah,
this way they can just get them all on TV.
So when you have 20 titles on the same show, somebody's gonna have to be a triple champion.
Are the Ring of Honor tag titles the only Ring of Honor titles No, because Samoa Joe is what, the Ring of Honor
television
champion.
and
Is
then
he?
there's
Has he been on TV?
I think he's hurt, which it's Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is always hurt.
Yeah.
They have a few. They have I want to say Jonathan Gresham is still the ring of. I think this is the problem. I don't even remember who the champions are because you never see them anymore. It's just like they're never on TV. I don't know what they're doing with Ring of Honor. I know they have a show next month. I think a pay-per-view show. So I don't know. The Ring of Honor, that whole stuff just confuses me. I don't understand it. It's all over the place.
And this is coming from someone who watches AEW every week because of the live tweets.
Yeah, I watch it every week, and I just scratch my head. I'm like, all right, I'll try and make sense of this. Sure, why not? But yeah, FTR, and good for them. They're my favorite tag team in the business right now. Good, give them everything. Just give them all the belts, in my opinion. They're just the best tag team in the business.
They got shafted. In the ring. They got shafted in WWE.
Yeah.
They weren't really given an opportunity like this. You know, yeah, they were Raw.
No.
They were SmackDown Tag Team Champions. But when they were teaming with Orton, FTRKO, that shit was dope. Loved it.
Like
it was over.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, nah.
Yeah,
I don't know. You don't really want to see this.
Vince doesn't like old school tag team. Vince doesn't like tag teams in general, to be honest.
Vince doesn't like wrestling.
He likes it's sports entertainment in his world, and
yeah,
I'm fine with that. You know, I like both. You know, I like pro wrestling and sports entertainment. I like it combined a little bit, so I'm cool with that. But yeah, FTR just they're better where they are right now, and I know their contract's coming up, so that'll be interesting. That'll be another contract dispute. Here we go.
Yeah, because I think MJF is like really done at this point.
Well, I was just about to bring that up because I remember saying a few weeks ago, if we don't see MJF on Forbidden Door and make like a surprise appearance, then something's up. Because you have to. He's becoming an afterthought.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing is becoming an afterthought now, especially with the news cycle with wrestling currently. And you kind of have to strike while the iron's hot, and it's getting late. It's getting late, and they gotta do something before people just don't care. Or it's legit, or there's some legitimate stuff going on. We don't know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm popping for this comment from Ladarius.
Vince likes the sounds of his own grave.
Ladarius is right. Vince does love this. God damn it. They're a tag team. Break them up. Yeah, Vince hates tag teams. Loves the way his grapefruits probably feel and taste. And he loves the sound of his own voice.
Yeah. Vince likes New Day. That's the type of tag teams he likes. And I like New Day too.
Yeah.
But that's a style of tag teams he likes. He liked Edge and Christian because they were more of a sports entertainment type of a tag team. I mean, they were like comedy and, stuff like that. So
that is true.
Yeah. I'm a fan of both. I like a mixture of everything. I think we covered most of everything on Forbidden. I mean, a few other things. I have to say, Sting was in a match with Darby Allin against the Young Bucks. There's no way he's 63 years old. He's unbelievable. He's crazy.
And the WWE wouldn't let him fucking wrestle.
Yeah, they wouldn't clear him. And, that was one thing that I thought of last night. I was like, he looks like he's having a good time. He looks like he's having fun. And, this run he's having with Darby Allin is pretty cool. So good for him. He's 63 years old and he's diving off of stages and landing on the Young Bucks. I loved it.
No selling double super kicks.
No selling. That was the best part of the night when he no sold those
I
super.
loved it.
I was like, there he goes, Sting. That's Sting I know. The crowd went insane when he did that. When he pounded his chest after that, I think that might have been the pop of the night. The
Wow.
crowd just got up and they went insane for it. It felt like WCW back in the day. They went insane when he did that.
That's awesome.
What I'm so shout out to Sting. He's the GOAT. He's what a
The
legend.
Stinger.
I mean, just a few matches here. They go right by Jericho, Sammy, and Suzuki against the Blackpool Combat Club. Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Umino, some guy from New Japan. It was a good opening match. I think this feud is getting a little old. I'm glad we're getting blood and guts and ending this Jericho Blackpool Combat Club stuff. So I will be done after this Wednesday of Blood and Guts. So it was a good match, but I'm ready for something new for both of them.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's a little bit of the problem too with so many groups is that like how many who can you feud with? It's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
let's put this stable up against this stable, but then it's like, how many times are we going to see this? Like I feel like a solo run for Jericho is definitely like it's out of the question now. It's more
Yeah, he's not good. I think he's done with that.
so maybe maybe he should start, just being him and Sammy, and then maybe he could like help get Sammy more seriously and taken more legit, this way he just doesn't look like, Tay Conti's boyfriend.
Oh God, those two. Boy, oh boy, can they get heat? That crowd hate. I think
They hate him.
I don't think I'm starting to think it's not. It has to be go away heat at this point. I think they just want them off this. They don't want to see them.
It's as Nick would say, it's X-Pac heat.
I think they're starting to get over there on that X-Pac heat stuff because I don't mind them. I like Sammy. I think he's great in the ring. I think they're good heels, but I just think the AEW crowd once you have go away heat with the AEW crowd, I think you're you're in trouble. It's like, okay, let's call Vince and like Cody did and said, okay, let's call Vince and I'll go over there then where I'll get cheered. And that's what's happening. But yeah, well, that was we have then this match. This is the last match we have on the card for the AEW Women's Title. Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm. This match to me made no sense to be on this card. I know they have to include the women's title on, which makes sense. So you have to include that, but it just for this pay per view it made no sense. You're co-promoting with New Japan, and you're having a Thunder Rosa Toni Storm match. It kind of felt out of place. It was an okay match, but Thunder Rosa won, and Toni Storm's been there, and she hasn't done a lot of winning, so I don't know. It kind of felt out of place to me.
But if Toni Storm's not winning, we're winning because I don't subscribe, but her OnlyFans, she would not be allowed to do that in WWE. Like I see like some people post the pictures on Twitter and stuff. So again, maybe it's just more of, all right, whatever. I'm not going to be the women's champion, but I'm here. I'm having fun.
I guess
I'm doing my thing, because she should have won. I don't see the allure of Thunder Rosa as champion.
No, it's just been booked. The booking hasn't been great, and she's great in the ring. I like her. She's one of my favorites in that division over there, but I
feel like she's a better chaser. It was better when she was chasing the belt.
Yeah, I agree.
Champion.
I agree. The chase to the belt was better than the title run so far. A lot of that could be due to the booking, which would be a good time to move right into my little spiel I got on Tony
Yes,
Khan.
do it. Wait,
Yeah,
you know what? Let's name this. Let's just switch up our segments a little bit because it sounds like Tony Khan might need an intervention.
oh, good God. I don't know what he needs. I'm sure people have seen, they do a media scrum after the pay-per-view and the press goes in there. Wrestling Inc. was in there. Nick Hausman, shout out to him. He does all that. He does a great job. But I like Tony Khan. He's a good guy. He seems like a really nice guy. He does a lot. He has done a lot of good positive things for wrestling, and he brings all these guys over here. The WWE mishandled and tries and work his magic, even though his magic doesn't work. And his booking is just all over the place. But the reactions he gives to these guys and these press conferences, they walk in and he hugs them like he's like a kid. I don't know, he's like they walk in and he hugs them and he smiles towards the camera and he just it's just odd. He hugged Cesaro or Claudio and Okada, and I could see Okada's face, and he was just kind of like, "What the heck was that all about?" I get Tony kind of it wasn't like a professional hug. It was
I saw.
it was like a little kid ran up to Okada and just bear hugged him, and then smiled weirdly toward the camera. I didn't understand it. I don't understand why he has those reactions. It's just a little weird. I don't know.
It's bizarre. It's bizarre. He's getting worked up. He's getting worked up, at media scrums all the time. Punk is the champion. He's like, Punk is our draw. I don't care whatever. If you don't care whatever Eric Bischoff says, just be like, I don't care about Bischoff. You have another question?
And his reactions to things are just bizarre. It's just out there. I don't know any way to describe it. It's just, and it's not even the hugging thing. I don't care. Hug. Go ahead and hug them, but don't.
It's weird.
It's
a
just
weird hug.
Just if you want to give a professional hug or a handshake or something like that, but to hug them like that and just smile like you just you're somebody just came home from the army or something. It just
thank you. I was
right.
literally just gonna say that.
It was like somebody's son came home from the army and they were just, oh my God, I don't know.
You want to know what that was? That was how Ladarius probably wants to hug Thunder Rosa. Because Ladarius agrees that Thunder Rosa's booking has been terrible, but he does love him some Thunder Rosa. So.
I love Thunder Rosa too. I agree.
I see the thirst trap she puts up on Instagram. I do a little.
Good.
I do a little double tap to that.
Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. I probably put Ruby Soho up there as my favorites in that division right now. What Ladarius is something else. Khan looked like a fan meeting Okada for the first time. His reactions are
it's terrible.
Ladarius, I agree, and I see people defending it on Twitter, and it's not that deep. Really, I see people saying, "Oh my God, you guys are so mean and miserable," and I'm like, "No, we have eyes and we can see, and we're we don't think this is normal." This isn't a normal reaction for a man.
It's not. It's weird. I follow on Twitter Jesse the Buckeye.
I don't know who that is.
That's her Twitter name. She's huge into AEW and WWE, but she was also. She's like everyone's being so mean. Everyone's just being nice. And you know what? I didn't even know that people were ripping him. And it's not even that. First of all, it's hilarious. The memes are really funny so far.
Yeah, the memes are great.
But and
they're going to be used for a while, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But it's fun. It's funny. Like
It's
just it's not that serious.
no,
It's
people.
whatever.
It's not that deep. It's just, and it's not like we're not making mean comments. I just had all those nice things to say about Tony Khan. He's a great guy, and he seems like he really cares about the wrestling business, which is great. But I don't know. It just not even the hugging. It's just his like the way just he doesn't know how to just talk normal. Like it's just like he walks out there and just starts screaming at the audience and jumping up and down.
He doesn't
I don't
conduct. You
know.
would never think that he was the owner of the company.
No, you would think, oh, this is some like MJF said, he's some mark or something, the fan in the audience. And that's why the MJF thing was so good because everything he
That's
said
why
was
he's not
true.
here. Yeah, everything you said is true. Ladarius agrees too. Ladarius goes, I have four eyes, and Khan's behavior just ain't normal. It's not being mean if it's true.
No, nobody's trying to be mean. It's just an observation. It's just like okay, like you,
It's a
it,
factual observation, and
it's
then
just an opinion.
and this is how it's so toxic between wrestling fans. Like
Yeah,
I saw a post where that said, "Well, Vince never hugged anyone." Then it showed like 8 clips of like Vince hugging someone.
on
Like
camera probably. It
it
was
was
probably during the show at least or
no, it
something.
was like backstage in Gorilla. Like when they come in and have a good match, like when you would watch on the documentaries,
Yeah,
like
but
they're like, "Oh,
this
hey,
is
boss, how'd I do?" And he goes, "Oh, great match, pal," and like gives him the hug. But like
yeah, but it's
that's
different.
normal. That's like
Yeah,
that's a man hug. That's another man hugging another man, congratulating him.
yeah,
It's
I
not a
know what you're
little
talking
kid
about.
running up and hugging Santa Claus because you didn't see
It's
him for the
just
first time.
like it's just I don't know. Tony seems like a great guy, and he's like I said, he's done lots of positive things to the wrestling business, but his reactions to things are very interesting. Like you said, the Punk thing at the press conference, where even Punk had to like reel him in and say, "Okay, like let's move on. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?" So I
Even
just
when
I just
Samoa Joe debuted,
yeah. Oh, that
bro,
was
you
and he
signed
started
him.
jumping up
You
and down.
signed him. You're not a fan in the audience. So like, oh my god, I didn't know he was here. You
He's a
signed the guy to a
yeah.
contract.
Yeah, I get he's a fan of wrestling, and that's good. I like that he's a fan of wrestling, but do we
You
have to
got to be the
be
owner
jumping
first.
up and down? Yeah, you're an owner. You know, do you see Hal Steinbrenner when he signs somebody over to the Yankees? Do you see him jumping up and down and I don't know, hugging him and like looking at the camera? I don't
He's
know.
gonna do that. He's gonna do that when they re-sign Judge
I
because if
was just,
because
oh,
if he leaves, it's gonna be a problem.
oh my, yeah. Here, Judge, I just gave you $500 million, and let me jump up and down about it and give you a hug and smile at the camera. I don't know.
I think that's the difference between Vince and Tony Khan is that Tony Khan acting the way he isn't a gimmick. Like there's no Tony Khan
Right,
than like Mr. Khan. Like there's a Vince McMahon than like a Mr. McMahon.
right.
Where you could somewhat tell the difference between the gimmick and then the person, but with Tony Khan, it's like a 13-year-old in Toys R Us, for the
Yeah,
first
it's like
time.
it's
It's
like you
like,
took a kid to a candy shop or something, and it just here go go buy everything you want.
yeah,
I
shit.
don't know. I just I like I said, a lot of what MJF said was true, and maybe that's why we're not seeing much of MJ. We're not seeing him at all, and his merchandise is down. And everybody says, "Oh, it's a work. It's a work." It's
I don't think
he
so.
he'll be back, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm waiting. Where's he at? And by the way, having his merchandise down this long,
I think
he's
it's
losing
legit.
money. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think we're gonna be seeing MJF in a very long time.
They better hurry up if they want to, you know, they want to pay off here and I don't know what that payoff would be. I hope it's not a Tony Khan figurehead on television, because then, oh, that'll be just
Brutal.
that will be brutal. We've seen him on AEW television before, and didn't turn out too well, did it?
No, it did not.
But again, I'm not hating on Tony. I'm just throwing it out there. The reactions are a bit extra. I'll put it that they're a bit extra.
They
me.
are.
Yeah.
And while we won't see MJF for a while, and probably while we've seen enough of Tony Khan,
Haven't we all?
someone that we're really excited about seeing tonight is John Cena.
There we go. You can't see me, man.
Oh, I have something to admit.
All right.
I was never a full-fledged member of the C Nation.
Oh, good. I was going to mention the same thing.
When he rapped, I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was fire because, especially with the throwback jerseys. But
right.
he won at WrestleMania 21. They won Hollywood. He beat JBL. And then they had that crazy little, I think it was a set of 3. Right? Yeah, it was 3.
Yeah.
The last one, blood everywhere. That really made him. And then once he shot over to Raw, I feel like that's when we got the Cena shoved down our throat a lot.
Yeah, and
which
that was a problem for me.
It was a problem, but you know what? At the time, it's like that thing. Well, if I knew then what I know now, I would have appreciated him so much more.
No,
so
I
much
feel
more.
The same way.
Rock, Hogan, Austin, Cena, my top 4, and all 3. I'm taking Cena out. All 3 were so pivotal in what wrestling is today. And Cena did it, I want to say, for longer than Austin and Rock combined. I can't say Hogan because Hogan was the 80s and the 90s, but he's definitely surpassing the longevity of Hogan. And he could still put on matches. He's just he was so underappreciated when he was there. And now that he's not here, like those 4 guys I mentioned, no one has come close to their superstardom other than I want to say Roman right now. And I don't mean like world titles. I don't mean success in the ring. I mean, if you go to a random person on the street and you name Hogan, Rock, Austin, and Cena, I guarantee you they're going to probably know 3 out of the 4, which is crazy. Just for like a non-wrestling fan, just because they're so well known outside of wrestling.
Those names, you probably tell anybody, they'll probably know it, whether it's from wrestling or not.
Now, if you take, Cody Rhodes, Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley, and Brock Lesnar, people are probably just going to know Brock. Maybe Cody.
Probably, yeah.
I don't think there's ever going to be another star like John Cena to where, like the other 3 that I mentioned, to where they're bigger than the company. Because they were. Hogan was bigger than both companies.
Right.
Rock was bigger than WWE. It led him to Hollywood. And he's one of the highest paid actors in all of Hollywood.
Yeah, I was about to say Rock's bigger than everyone.
Austin was like the first pop culture wrestler to where he was on Nash Bridges. He was on the Kids' Choice Awards. And then, you didn't really see, like, you saw Hogan in like the 80s TV shows and stuff, but nothing really outside of Rocky 3, nothing really too crazy outside of wrestling wise. But I feel like Hogan creaked the door open. Austin opened it, and The Rock kicked it down, and
Right.
Cena walked through it. But
Mhm.
it's not going to happen again with someone else, I don't think.
No, I think Roman's probably the closest guy to that. As a kid, I must admit I was not a Cena guy whatsoever. I hated him. I just he wasn't my guy. I don't know if it was just because I was a more of a as a kid, I just leaned towards the heels more. Maybe
Yeah.
I remember at WrestleMania
Excuse me.
22 in Chicago, they did the main event. I think it was Cena and Triple H. And I remember being so mad as a kid having Cena beat Triple H. So I wasn't a Cena guy, but as like you said, as time went on, you had to appreciate him more because he was top star, and we don't have that many of those anymore. So you appreciate him more
No,
once you got older. But
20
he
years.
was he was like just shoved down our throats from I want to say from probably 2008 to like 2016. It was just like 8 straight years of him.
I want to say a little before that. Probably because when he
Yeah,
came back at the Rumble, everybody loved it. MSG, the roof fucking came off. That was my first pay-per-view ever. So like seeing that reaction to when he was 30, he came out, everybody cheered. I feel like before he got hurt, it started to build to where like, okay, again, like he beat Jericho, he beat Angle. Um, he was winning, fatal 5-way matches at this point. And then, you wanted something new and we didn't get it. So all that time to where he was just on top. That's a crazy run. 20 years? And listen, get it, shoved down our throats or whatever. He was selling out arenas, main evented pay-per-views, knocking merchandise out of the park. So there was just so much that he did that there's not a guy that's close to that. Roman, but I don't think Roman would ever, he probably doesn't want to be the top guy for that long. He's already
right.
starting to work part-time now. So it's like, you know, and Cena just, Royal Rumbles, Money in the Banks, how many main events of WrestleMania, and he had great WrestleMania matches. And I'm happy he's back. Um, I have a little prediction
All right, there
on
you go.
what we talked a little bit about it. I tweeted it out. Cena comes back tonight. Everyone thanks him for 20 years. He's gonna talk about his 16 championships, how he's tied with Ric Flair. 17 would break it. You know, Either he's gonna declare himself in the Money in the Bank, or like Adam Pearce to be like, Cena, on your 20 years, we have a gift for you. You're in the Money in the Bank match this Saturday, which I think
Never know.
the Money in the Bank match could use, because right now there's three guys, there's three spots open, and I think the Elias, Ezekiel, Kevin Owens
Yeah,
match.
that's going to be a qualifier.
So one of them go in there. I feel like they're going to do a last chance because you have AJ and Matt Riddle not in there. But I think by adding Cena into this match, you add a little unexpected, mystery to it. Because right
Hmm.
now it's Rollins. Rollins is going to be the guy. You
Yeah, he's going to
know,
win it.
I the last thing I would want is it to not be Rollins and it be Drew McIntyre, and we get some bullshit to where he cashes in September as an announced cash in because they're at Clash of the Castle in the UK. I don't need
Right.
no RVD announce cash in at this point, because now the allure of Money in the Bank is for it to be a mystery. It's got to be a hit and run because Roman's unbeatable. You're not going to cash in announced on Roman when he's been wiping the floor with everyone. The point is to get the advantage. So I honestly think it's going to be Rollins, even though Drew McIntyre could be the backdoor. But if you add Cena into the match, he's not going to win, but he could.
He could. I could see it happening. Never know.
You're not going to have it like Omos. He's not going to win, and he's not.
Why is he in there? Why is he in a ladder match?
I don't
I want to know
why. Because he's just going to reach up and grab it. It doesn't make sense, but
I feel like they just needed something for him to do, so they said, "Okay, we have a spot open. Go ahead."
Terrible. But I think Cena's in the Money in the Bank match, and Austin Theory cost him the match because Theory has his program going on with Lashley. I don't think it makes sense to start a program with Cena now.
Yeah, I was gonna say Theory's facing Lashley for the U.S. title and Money in the Bank, and I guess you could, if Cena's gonna be. I don't know if he's gonna be in it. Maybe he is, but I could see an interruption or something, or his Theory running out or something.
There's no Cody. There's no Roman. There's no Randy. They already had to move locations from Money in the Bank to a smaller venue because Roman wasn't going to be there.
Right.
If you're going to push Money in the Bank as your top 5, because that's what it is now. It's their number. I would even say it's their number 3. I would say it's Mania. Well, SummerSlam. All right, it's 4. I blanked on SummerSlam for a second. It would be Mania, Rumble, SummerSlam, Money in the Bank, and then Survivor Series would be their 5.
I don't even consider that in the top 5 anymore.
If Money in the Bank is gonna be their main thing, one of their main guys, you need some star power on there. Add Cena to the match, I think automatically does that, because a return in Bayley for the women isn't really gonna, move the needle like John Cena would. So I think that's what's gonna happen tonight.
Yeah.
Because and they put so much fucking hype into this.
Oh, this is gonna pop a big rating for them. They've been doing good. They've been doing good ratings for the past 2 weeks, so this will be their highest rated show for Raw in probably in a year.
Probably. And I listen, I'm not gonna die on this hill, but I mean, I think to me it sounds like a good idea. Add Cena to the match, add some mystery to it, have Theory cost him the match, push him off the ladder, do some bullshit, and then it sets up Cena versus Theory for SummerSlam. Because it's just, you need Cena for both, I think. And with how heavily promoted that they've done this, I think that, in less than an hour, when Cena is on Raw, that it's going to be, he's in the Money in the Bank.
Well, maybe. Hopefully, I wouldn't mind it because I'll be doing coverage of it, so it'll make it even more interesting for me. I don't know. I'm hoping all this doesn't just turn into a one-off, and then we just don't see him till like SummerSlam or something. We don't see him for another month, because then that would stink. But we'll see. I don't see it just being a one-off. I see it maybe extending to SummerSlam with Theory, but it should be interesting. Cena is a big star. He brings in big ratings, and he's a big merchandise seller for them. So it should be a lot of fun. It usually is when he comes on, and I'm sure he's going to get a big ovation and stuff like that. So we shall see.
So who would be your 3 to put in for Money in the Bank?
I put Kevin Owens in. I put Riddle in there. I don't know why they beat him against Omos. I put Riddle in there. And Trying to think. I'd put Walter. I'll put Gunther in there, but I don't know if they're going to do that because I don't think they're going that route yet. But why not? Oh, you know what? Maybe Ricochet. Might as well. He just lost the IC title. Put Ricochet in there. Why not? He's not going to
Yeah.
win, but
I guess you could use that.
because he's a
That type
high
of
flyer,
yeah.
he can do things like they always do that. I think one year they put in Kalisto or like Sin Cara one year. Nobody even cared about them, but they did like flips and dives and they dove off the ladder and stuff like that. So they'll probably do something like that, maybe with Ricochet or maybe Ray. Maybe put Rey Mysterio in there. I don't know.
I could see that because I just went back and watched all the Money in the Banks. I was bored, so like I watched those, and like Ali was in it a couple of years ago.
Yeah, where's he been? He came back and then he disappeared again.
Yeah, he's on Main Event.
Oh, all right. They shoved him. They shoved him to main event already.
Well, that's where the Judgment Day is too now. They were on Main Event last week.
Yeah, oof, what a fall. What is it? Ed said goodbye. I'll see you later, and they went to main. And they went all the way to main event.
It's crazy how fast that happened. It's even wild how you don't have Balor or at least Damian Priest in.
Yeah, it's bizarre how that happened. Well, Rhea Ripley right now is hurt, so that could be a reason why. She was supposed to have that match with Bianca Belair at Money in the Bank, but now it's changed. So
Carmella.
Yeah, I forgot about that one, Carmella. That's perfect. They get an injury. Carmella's good for that. Just stick her in there and have Bianca Belair beat her and then just move on.
Yeah.
But what do we got for the women's Money in the Bank? What do you think for that one?
I would like. I want Liv Morgan to win it.
That's what I'm saying. It wouldn't make sense to not have her win.
Right. And I think there's 3 spots open for the women too?
I think so. I know Raquel, I was going to say Gonzalez, but it's Rodriguez now.
That's her name. You could say that.
But I know she's in it. I think Asuka's in it, right? Isn't Asuka in it?
Yeah, Asuka we have, all right. It's Shotzi, Asuka,
right,
Lacey, Raquel, Liv, and Alexa. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So
look out for
spots.
Alexa. Look out for Alexa Bliss. She might. I could see her winning too. I could see it either being Liv or Alexa Bliss because, Alexa Bliss just came back. She's undefeated. Why not? She did it once before. Do it again. I can see that happening.
Yeah, and just the men's look so weak.
That's because Omos is in it.
It's bad.
That's because they got Omos in it, and I don't know why. I don't get it. Why it would have been if you just killed Riddle's momentum. He would had so much momentum, and Omos beat him for the qualifying match, and it doesn't make sense. I don't know where they were going with that one. Riddle has so much support right now.
Yeah. He had that banger of a main event.
But Roman, I don't know why they went the direction they went in that one, but I don't know, maybe they stick him in anyway. I doubt it though. Maybe I don't know what they're doing with Riddle now.
I feel like there's going to be some sort of like last chance to get in. Like same thing for the women because you have Becky. How do you not have Becky? Like,
yeah, I could see them doing another last minute thing with her too. Maybe she squeaks in one of the last spots because who's filling those spots? I'm trying to think of people.
Same thing. I'm looking and I'm like,
because Ronda's facing Natalya. You have
Shayna, but she lost to Raquel.
Right. I don't know. It's a hard one. I don't know who else you'd put in there. Maybe Zelina. You put maybe stick her in there, or I don't know where she's been, but um, who else is on? Or maybe Dewdrop, but I don't know. I hope they don't put Nikki
Oh
Ass in there.
no, maybe a return in Bailey and Becky. I think that would
About
be
time for
yeah. It's
Bailey
been
to return.
so long, 2
It's been
years.
like no, has it been 2 years? I thought it was like a year.
It feels like 2 years.
This
I,
does, yeah.
I need my hug from Bailey.
Nah, no more hugs. She has to come back as a heel. She went
Yeah,
out as
yeah.
a heel. She's got to come back as a heel.
We'll save the hugs for Tony Khan.
Yeah, I'm sure I like it.
So Becky gets one of the last spots probably, and then the men's. Honestly, though, even with Omos, even if you take them out, it's just Rollins, McIntyre, Sheamus, and Sami Zayn.
Yeah,
Say you add
I wouldn't
KO.
mind. I wouldn't mind Sami Zayn winning it, but I know that's never happening.
He would give it to Roman
He
because he
probably
wouldn't
would.
want to cash in.
You know what? That'd be a pretty good story, but I don't know if they go that direction.
I don't even know. Speaking of Money in the Bank, let's switch it up a little bit. Who is in your opinion, the worst Money in the Bank winner that there was?
Jack
For the
Swagger.
For the men.
Jack Swagger. What was that? That was WrestleMania 12. That was the last time I did it at WrestleMania. I think it was I want to say it was at 26.
Probably because it took him so long to unhook the
No,
briefcase.
I'm not a fan of Jack Swagger. To me, he was just so boring, and his title reign. I'm trying to remember. I think they said it was like it did like analytics wise, it did horrible when he cashed it in and became world champion. It just didn't do very well.
He cashed in on a tape SmackDown.
Yeah, that tells you all you have to know
Yeah.
about how they felt about Jack Swagger. He was, he was boring to me. He's boring in AEW too with this whole Jericho stuff, and he's just there. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, there's Jack Swagger. It's just no personality, no charisma. He's okay in the ring. You know, he wasn't one of my favorites in general.
Sounds like it. It sounds like it.
When he became champion, I think I stopped watching SmackDown
wow.
for a little while when he became champion, because he was just so boring, and the feuds they had him involved with were boring because he was in it. So I think I stopped watching SmackDown around that time. When was that? 2012, 2011, maybe. I don't remember,
so.
but I didn't watch SmackDown for a little while until they put the title on somebody else.
The worst one for me, I gotta say Braun Strowman.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, I only know because I watched it.
I don't even remember that one.
I think he announced his cash in or some shit like that, or he didn't. I think that's when the Shield came back, and like the Shield helped Roman. It was just bad. You know, it wasn't good.
I'm trying to remember that one. I don't know why I don't have any recollection of that one.
Let me see if I could pull it up on the old YouTube.
Was it when they did the Performance Center thing? No, not the Performance
Center.
No,
there were fans. The Performance Center was, I think, Otis.
Oh, was it Otis?
I think so.
See, I don't remember it was Otis. That's right. That whole era, I just like to forget.
And I'm only going to say that I don't want to say Otis was the worst one because he lost it to The Miz. So I'm a huge Miz fan. So the fact that The Miz got it and he cashed in, I was totally on board with that. All right. Well,
I remember that.
YouTube is not working well right now because Verizon Fios is absolute trash. But I would say
I'll remember it later.
Yeah, take a
figure
look
it
at it
out.
later. I'll see if I can find it. I'll send it to you. I gotta say, Braun Strowman,
All right.
like the two surprising Money in the Bank winners for me, Brock and Cena. I did
Oh, the
not.
Brock one I loved. I loved what he did with that. At first, I was
Oh,
like, really?
the Brock
Yeah, he
the
made that
Brock
work.
party. Loved
He
it.
made that
Loved it.
work. I think my favorite one was probably RVD.
Yeah, that
That
was.
one, it was at 20, right? 22, WrestleMania 22.
Mhm.
And then they did the ECW One Night Stand, and that was just
Yeah.
you'll never be able to recreate that one.
No.
That was
The
unbelievable.
the atmosphere was crazy.
That atmosphere it'd be like if WWE went into like an AEW an arena and did that's like what it was. WWE went into like the AECW's environment, and every WWE guy just got booed out of the building that night.
Beer
So
thrown at them,
yeah,
cursed at,
that
flipped
was a
off.
that was great. That was my favorite one.
Now, is that your favorite cash in, or just was
Um,
RVD your favorite winner?
favorite winner, favorite cash in was probably Edge. No, I lie. I'm telling a lie. It'd probably be Seth Rollins at
Yeah,
31. It used to be Edge, but then Seth
the first one.
Rollins. Yeah, that was before Seth Rollins. It was Edge, and then once Seth Rollins did that, I was like, okay, that's the best one ever.
Yeah.
You'll never get that one back.
No, and I think that's also why I kind of possibly think he's going to win not tonight. He's going to win the Money in the Bank Saturday because you know the main event of SummerSlam is Roman and Brock, last
Right.
man standing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the perfect time I think to
Mm-hmm.
do it. Give Rollins a couple of weeks of coming out dressed crazy with the briefcase. But I think if Rollins wins, he cashes in at SummerSlam, and it's gonna be and kind of like what I said last week. Rollins cashes. I think whoever cashes in, doesn't matter who it is, that Paul Heyman's going to use some backdoor loophole saying that unfortunately the contract only says for one championship, the WWE
My
championship, because you have to take one belt off Roman. It's not working. I was on board for the one champion, but not when he's not here.
agreed. Yeah.
And Raw 1000% needs a world title. It's unwatchable.
Yeah.
You know,
Roman was supposed to be on both shows, but then that didn't happen. So
doesn't work for
they're
me,
in a
brother.
they're in a predicament now with these two titles on the same person. So yeah, they could do something like that. I could see them pulling a loophole and say, "Oh well, wait a minute. You have to give one of the titles back, and one of them will probably be the Universal one because Cody's going to go after the WWE one."
Yeah.
So that can make sense. I can see them going that route. I just can't wait for Cody to come back because Raw. That's why I'm happy John's going to be on tonight. So I was like, all right, that's good. At least we'll have him to watch because it's just been, Cody kind of made that show faster and easier to watch.
Yeah.
But some weeks it's tougher than others. But it's been okay. It's been decent in the last few weeks.
Yeah, and Cena's definitely gonna pop their rating. So
Oh,
does
big time.
he start the show or do
I
we get
don't
the
know.
Cena countdown?
We might be getting a Cena countdown because I doubt he. If they start the show, they're already bringing in viewers, starting this, because you can only build up if you have them at the 9 o'clock hour, you'll get more and more viewership than just starting off the show and okay, here he is, and then after that, your viewership is going to tank once John's done. But
Have
I
him
see him at the 9 o'clock hour.
push it later. I say he's the main event. You show
Maybe.
highlight packages of his career throughout the night.
Mm-hmm.
You have people talking about him to hype it up and build it up.
Right.
And, really, because, all right, as I'm talking about it out loud, I'm thinking, the placement on the show for him determines if it's a one-off or not.
Mhm.
If it's the main event, then it's some sort of like Ric Flair, WrestleMania send off to where they're just, everybody comes out, thanks him,
Nah, I don't know if
Cena
that'll
gives a
happen.
speech. Well, I'm saying like
Mm.
if it's something like that to where Vince is definitely gonna come out. Vince is gonna come out and hype up Cena. He did it last week.
He did last week. Yeah, he might, uh, or he might just come out and say like he was doing and just announce something or just say something random.
He'll be like, Money in the
Um,
Bank? Is this Saturday?
yeah,
You could
yeah, I could
just
see that. Yeah,
you could see it. You can see this PLE on the Peacock Network.
I could see him coming out and
$9.99.
just saying that. That's Vince. You gotta love him.
But I do think though that the placement of Cena on the card determines if it's a one-off or not. I hope it's not a one-off,
Mhm.
but
Right.
also it needs to be impactful and meaningful only
Mhm.
for how much they're hyping it up.
True.
Vince is coming out
Very true.
saying it. It's all over Twitter. Cena's tweeting about it. Like it's got to be powerful and impactful to the point to where it's like make it worth it.
Right.
Make it worth it. So
Yeah, don't just have him come out and say, "Oh, I'm happy I've been here for 20 years. It's my 20th anniversary," and make it do something with it. Create a storyline, have Theory come out, start something up. Don't just have this be like a little nostalgia thing and him just come out and, greet the crowd or something. Like, make this something. Make this interesting.
I agree. And it's a little more than 90 minutes.
Certainly
No, I
is.
lied. 90 minutes.
Oh, no.
45 minutes.
Y-
It's 7:30.
yeah,
It's
like
been
a
a
half
long
hour.
day. It's been a
It
long
has
day.
been a long day.
It's been a long day.
No. I
Monday
was
Night
gonna say
Raw.
90 minutes. What the heck?
Yeah,
But
I was like
half
looking.
hour.
I was like, wait, it's not. It's not on 9 o'clock anymore.
I
Um,
wish.
but you are going to be doing your
Yes.
switched it live coverage tonight. Did you have anything else you want to talk about Raw? There's really not much of a preview that they're
The
giving us.
Yeah, Kevin Owens and the Ezekiel stuff was great last week with Elias. I don't know how that beard looks so realistic. I don't whoever did the makeup on that one, that was pretty good because it was
What do you mean
it,
makeup? It was Elias. Makeup. That was Elias.
oh that but it was so good. That segment was gold. It it could have fit in any era.
Yeah.
I could have seen that in the Attitude Era.
Oh, absolutely.
I could have seen a
Absolutely.
segment like that in the Attitude Era. It was so good.
It was
So
like the
I'm
three
hope
faces of Foley.
that's what I said. I think I even during my coverage I said this is like, the Foley stuff,
Yeah.
it's kind of cool and they're making it their own. Kevin Owens is a mastermind. He's just unbelievable. I can't bring up more words to say to him because he's just fantastic.
He could get anything over. Anything.
Anything. Him and Sami Zayn could get anything over.
Yes.
They could, you could put a pile of rocks in the in the ring and they'll get those rocks over. Um, I'm looking forward to it tonight because they had me entertained last week, that segment. So we'll see. I remember saying a few weeks ago they got to do something with the storyline because it's getting old, and I guess they heard me because
They
they
definitely
did
did because that
something.
was
Yeah,
good.
they did a great segment. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to John's return and the Kevin Owens and Ezekiel stuff, and we'll see what else they got tonight.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely going to be a must see with Cena being back.
Hmm.
And you will be doing a ton of live tweeting
Oh
over
yeah,
at Rasslin Inc.
8 to 11.
So, make sure you're catching Sal over at
Yep.
Rasslin Inc. and, give him some love, show him give him those interactions that he's looking for because, his tweets are on point. they're not delayed, and if you're unable to watch the show, it's a great way to stay in the loop until you're able to see Cena. And
Yeah, come join us.
I think we're good. We have 5 minutes to give back. We're going to give those 5 minutes back to Belly Up because we are. The last thing we want to do is drag something out that.
Right. We covered it. We covered a lot today. We covered Forbidden Door, Cena, Money in the Bank, Raw tonight. So
yeah, I got to make sure I get that steak on the grill before Cena comes out.
There we go. We don't know when he's coming out yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, so I have to be ready. I have to be on a full stomach because you never know when that ruthless aggression could come out, and then can't miss it.
Well, it should be fun.
And speaking of can't miss, I appreciate Darius, who is one of our
shout out to him.
He's a can't miss, and I definitely want to do some sort of trivia in the near future. Once we figure out if we're going to be live all the time or if we're going to film on a different day. But, if you're interested in wrestling trivia, just in general, let us know. And if you want to support us with the Scoreboard Addicts trivia, they've been dodging us for at least a month now. So, and the last I checked, we were co-winners. So,
it's been a while.
TJ, Nick of the Scoreboard Addicts, we're calling you out. We want our trivia back on Wednesdays, and tomorrow's Wednesday. And you know what?
Tomorrow's Tuesday.
Wow. Tomorrow is Tuesday.
Yeah.
Wow. That whole
I got it. That's all right. I'll be doing XC tomorrow. Fun.
Can I edit this somehow? Can I? You know what? And this is why I said, we had 5 minutes. We don't want to fill it with filler because then stuff like this happens.
Yeah, it's like the 24/7 title. Just fill it.
Man. And I just got rolled up for the 24/7 title by thinking tomorrow's Wednesday. All right. Well, tonight is Monday. Catch Sal over at Rasslin Inc. And, get ready for John Cena tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I'm going to hit end broadcast, but it always takes a while to go. So.
See you guys later.